What is one thing that you currently know now in your career that you wish you knew when you first started out?
I mean, I've learned so much and I've made it a point. This is one thing we didn't touch on, but for the vast majority of my career, really up until like a couple of years ago, I never had a manager. I did have a few managers that would last like 3, 4 months and I'd be like, I'm working way harder than you. I don't need you. And I would just fire them.
Very interesting.
So, but in the beginning stage of my career, I certainly didn't have a manager for, say, the first 5, 6 years. And that forced me to learn all aspects of the music business, not just how to create music, but how to read a contract, how to manage a negotiation. And I've failed this a million times, but how to communicate with people. Oh, I learned that the hard way. So there's a million things that I know now that I didn't know then. You know, I think the biggest piece of advice I can offer is being a creative is one thing, but running a business is a different thing. And so if you want to work in the music business and you want to find success and you want to be on that stage and have all the accolades and all that stuff, take the time to really learn the business of music. Learn how to read a contract. So what I did is I would, first of all, lawyers in music, they generally charge 5%. I value myself more than that. I'm like, you're reading a short contract that a label sends and you want 5%. Whether I mix one song that's worth, a few $1,000s, whatever, or I mix a whole album or produce a whole album that might be hundreds of thousands of dollars. You're getting 5% for the exact same contract just because the dollar
Mm,
amount is different. That doesn't work for me. So what I did, and by the way, most creatives, they do that. They get
sure.
their lawyer, pay their 5%, and that's it. But when you have a lawyer that's 5% and a business manager that's 5% and a manager that's 20%, you might, if you're an artist, you have a touring, an agent who's taking 10%. I mean, half your money's gone before, and then the IRS takes their piece. Everything's gone before you can touch anything. You have to make so much more than you think. So when that big contract comes in, you're like, and then you start doing the math, you're like, oh shoot, it's actually 70% lower than what I think it is. So I was very good with numbers in this way. And so I said, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I have one, I'm going to hire a lawyer. I'm not going to tell them what the contract is worth. I'm going to say, hey, I have a production deal I need you to look at. What will you charge me for it? And, they would always do this 5% thing. And I'd say, no, like a la carte, like what will you charge? I don't need, that's not me. I don't do that. So I just need you to look and read the contract. Give me a price. Just give me a number. And they give me a number. I'd say, great, locked in. Then I'd send the contract and be way more than what it was. And they'd be like, oh, if I knew it was for this, I would have blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, well, you said it. So then I would learn. So I would read the original contract and then I would read the red lines and I'd study all the red lines. And I'd learn the language. What are the things they're crossing out? What are the things they're changing? What are the things they're doing? And I'd make sure I'm copied on all emails so I would see where their lawyers would push back in the negotiation. I would study all of this. So now I can read my own contracts. And don't get me wrong, I use attorneys when it's important enough to do, but when it's something small and it's not worth it, I can read it myself and I'm confident that I can get the contract over the finish line in just as good a way as the attorney will. The point I'm trying to make is if I can offer any piece of advice, it's like take the time to learn everything. Learn the
100%.
negotiations, learn the contracts, study who are the A&Rs, maintain those relationships, do all the legwork. And it requires way more effort, but the end result means you're going to be a beast. And you're
100%.
going to learn so much and through that you're going to discover opportunities that you would have never discovered, like, oh,
Absolutely.
the songwriter, I understand publishing, let me, this person's great and we can make great music together, and we do, and we can find success. Let me sign this person, let's do a publishing deal, and blah, blah. It creates new opportunity just by having the knowledge. Now when I go through life, I can spot an opportunity, and I think a lot of artists or creatives or whatnot, they're unable to spot the opportunities that are right in front of their faces. And I know this because it happens all the time. I'll be with friends or we'll be talking about stuff and they'll say something and then I'll have this immediate idea like, wait, well, why don't you do this, and structure it this way and do it like that? And they're like, their jaws drop and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
I never thought of it that way. It's because they never thought about it at all. So yeah, just take the time to learn every aspect of it, and then you'll be a beast. Nobody can mess with you. Nobody, you're always going to have enough around you where the opportunities will never end.
I
So
think that is absolutely phenomenal advice that I think that most people don't talk about. I think everybody's trying to hire people as fast as they can so that they don't have to do the tedious work. But to some degree, it's that tedious work is a blessing in disguise because it teaches you all those things that you would have never known had you not had to do them yourself.
right.
Or you, like you even said, like you want to do them yourself to some degree because you want to learn all these opportunities. And I think that is a phenomenal. Before you even hire people, be dangerous enough to be, do the topic on yourself by yourself. I think it's phenomenal advice. That's great. Man, shoot, on that last one, I was like, I'm taking notes on that. That's a great advice.
Clip that. Throw that on TikTok.
Bro, this whole interview is clipped up 100%. You know that.